Sin City. Saturday night. Fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world. When combat sports shines brightest on the Las Vegas Strip. Boxing and mixed martial arts need some new voices. And Franchise Sports Media got them for you. Join Kalani Lua and Griff and Kemp each week as they bring you news and hot takes from inside the octagon and the ring. Get your popcorn ready. It's showtime. FSM's main event starts right now.
What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Camp.
Griff. Did you happen to see what happened over the weekend over in the other desert? Because we're in Vegas. This is the first desert. You saw what happened over in the other desert?
I saw some mockery happening over there. I saw some shenanigans going down.
There was definitely something going on. I don't know what it was, but you had the one Tyson Fury welcoming former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou to the boxing ring. It was his first fight in almost 2 years of any sort. His first professional boxing match. All the stars were out there, Griff. Ronaldo was out there. See, you had him. You had the heavyweight champion now, Usyk, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. Tyson Fury had all the former champions in the hallway as he was walking to the ring greeting him. I thought that was super cool.
That was sick.
Francis Ngannou came out on the king's throne. Mike Tyson was up there. And then you saw when he started making his way down, he had Kamal Usman and Israel Adesanya flanking
right there next to him.
back. I love the entrances.
Oh, yes.
Griff, let's get into the fight. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou. Tyson Fury wins the decision. 1 point over Francis Ngannou. 10-rounder. He wins. Ngannou showed everybody. Griff, take it away.
You look at the history of this little, this little event we've been seeing now over the last few years. The MMA guy coming over to face the boxer. We got it with Floyd and Conor McGregor. We have it still different level, but still, Nate Diaz, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul. All these different MMA guys fighting the boxers. And I think after watching Saturday night, you can't, it's undebatable. It's hard to say anything otherwise. Francis Ngannou did the best out of any of these MMA guys who ever did this crossover. And I'm even talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. I wish Conor looked the way Francis looked that night. It was phenomenal. It was exciting each and every round, especially in the third round when we see that, Ngannou scored that takedown, or he scored the knockdown. He got Tyson Fury with that hook, and it was beautiful. I was hyped up. I believe everybody watching was just in disbelief that what we were watching. Bit of a robbery, if I'm going to say so myself. I'm not the boxing expert, maybe the scorecards will say differently. I'd say it's a robbery. Francis Ngannou, in my heart, and I feel a lot of people's hearts, won that fight. He went out there. He did what he had to do. Congratulations to Francis Ngannou. And, standing here today, I hope Dana White's got a little bit of that, maybe I shouldn't have said the things I said. Maybe this was a better idea than I really thought it was going to be. But yeah, overall, phenomenal.
It was a phenomenal showing. As I talked about the entrances when they came out, those were spectacular. As you mentioned, all the former MMA guys who have tried their luck in the square ring. Anderson Silva did beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He did beat him. Not granted, I understand some people think Jr. is nowhere near half of what his dad was. Notice how that was. You're not even near half of what your dad was. That's a fair criticism. That's a fair criticism. But Ngannou came in there, and we all wondered, us in the MMA community, and as they talked about on the show, yes, he's one of the hardest punchers in human history. On one of those meter machines that judges power, he punches it, set the record for the hardest punch. When people are like, well, obviously boards don't hit back. Okay, what's he going to do against the Gypsy King, who knows how to move, has the head movement, throws the jab, bigger than him, moves around, and it's a boxing ring. All the eyes, the lights, everyone in the crowd are you going to gas out because you're so big and muscular? Ngannou has such an excellent game plan. At first, the very first round, bell rings, ding, ding. Tyson Fury sprints almost across the ring trying to apply the pressure. When he did that, I thought, oh, Tyson going to try to see how he reacts. But you notice, Ngannou kept his composure, stayed even keel, flow like water, as one Bruce Lee will say. And he kept Tyson at bay with being able to stand in front of him, throw heavy jabs, throw heavy punches, and then, like you said, in the third round, lands a left hook on the back of the head, knocks Fury down. And it wasn't just one of those, he caught him in the back of the head, messed up his undula oblongata, threw off his balance. No, you can see Tyson on the ground, and when he got up, he could feel like, oh, this dude can punch. Like, his fundamentals and technique may not be there, but this dude can punch. Like Wilder, this dude got some power. I got to watch myself. I would say, was it a robbery? You said it was a robbery. I do believe it was a robbery. But I will say this. I think it was just too little too late.
Too little too late.
Yeah. I think it was one of those. Did you watch Creed 1?
Of course.
Okay. So remember when he fought the champion at the end? Okay. You remember how when the bell rang, Rocky said, had there been 10 more seconds, you would have won.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was close.
Yeah.
Bell was pulled out to a big lead. Creed started closing the gap. And I think that's what happened here. The third round was a knockdown, so that's 10-8. But, and I'm just being honest, I think there were some rounds that were close that went to Tyson only because it was like, oh man, he hit him a few more times with a jab, did this, did that. But then at the end, you see, I think it was the 8th round, Griff, where they were in the corner and they had like a little tie-up and they were doing some dirty boxing.
Right.
I don't know if you were able to notice it. I kind of peeped it, though. If you look at Tyson's body, he wobbles a couple times because Ngannou's throwing these short uppercuts and hooks. But even though they're short, them some lunchboxes coming at you.
Those are small Nissans coming at you.
You know what I mean?
Real hard at you.
Very good point. But and I'm going to right there kick it to you. But he's doing that. And I felt like if he puts the gas on a little bit more, then he could land either a devastating blow or at least win those close rounds where now when you get to the end, it's like, okay, got it. Because again, he only lost by 1 point.
Right.
That's like saying if we're in a football game, they beat us by a field goal at the last second. We played better. They just beat us by a field goal. So I don't know necessarily a robbery, but it was super close.
It's the same argument, I feel like, when we watch boxing, when it's just pure, two straight up boxers. The scoring of boxing is very interesting. And my argument why I thought it was a robbery was just, you look at the way Tyson Fury looked at the end of the fight, and even especially the next day when they were both, because they canceled the post-fight conference.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Probably because they said, "Oh, our boy just got it to him. Our boy just got it."
Let's not do this right now, guys.
Get out, everyone out. Yeah, no. I mean, that's how I was kind of looking at it. But again, I'm coming from a stance of not knowing boxing as well as I know the MMA grading, and as well as I know, I just think that. You're right. It probably was, when it came to the technical side of things, Tyson Fury definitely did enough to get the victory. But it's hard to argue because with Francis Ngannou, like you said, Tyson Fury from the first bell comes out running at Francis. That's something we thought was going to be the opposite. We thought Francis was going to be the one who went and attacked Tyson Fury instantly because of everyone had the same take. Oh, if Francis is going to win this boxing match, he needs to go all out in the first couple rounds and try to knock out Fury. But no, Francis stood there the entire fight, every round, and it was not rushed. There was no panic in him. He was staying there nice and tight. He was making sure he was landing his shots when they were open. He was getting there. It was just beautiful overall how he looked. And also shout out to his coach. I wish I knew his name exactly, but his coach is actually the same coach for Sean Strickland, who not too long ago just beat Israel Adesanya to take his belt at middleweight.
He did.
And the fact that Israel Adesanya went out there and stood in their corner right next to that coach, that says a lot about the connection that Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, and Kamaru Usman all have, that they were able to, look past that, and he was able to be there for his friend, his brother, and Francis Ngannou. I think that if you really look at the fight overall, and you really look at Francis and where he came from, leaving the UFC, signing with PFL, finally getting into the ring, and finally showing us his, finally getting out there in front of the public eye and fighting. I think it's just a phenomenal story. Francis Ngannou came from nothing, and now he's here at the pinnacle where he's outshone the UFC, where he is everything he set out to do, he's done. I want to say congratulations to him. I mean, is there room for a rematch? Is there any way you can see that a rematch between these two happen? Or do you think that the next move for Francis is maybe another boxer?
Very quickly, his coaching staff, you got the striking coach, Dewey Cooper, I believe is the one with the dreads, and then his head coach, Eric Nixick. So shout out to them for going out there. And, you know, it's interesting because we see this sometimes where a camp have a plethora of fighters, and they have a nice run of, hey, this camp right here is the one to go to. Remember, American Kickboxing Academy at one point had John Fitch, what's the blonde-haired dude? The blonde-haired dude that fought George St. Pierre. The wrestler from Penn State, the jackass.
I know who you're talking about. I'm totally spacing right now.
Kusek or... Anyways, I'm gonna have to look that up real quick. But you had him. You also had Mike Swick, right? Then, AKA, kind of goes through a transformation as Daniel Cormier comes in, Cain Velasquez comes in, Luke Rocco comes in. Had a little transition right now. AKA, you know, they're building some guys up right now. Yeah. Greg Jackson's Academy, Jackson Wink, they had a run. GSP, John Jones. It seemed like everybody was going through there. Now they're going through a transitional period as well.
You also got Trevor Whitman, who had Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje, Rose Namajunas.
So you got that as well. Now you're throwing the fact of what we're seeing at Extreme Couture out here and camps of coaches who are either spawning off doing their thing with specific fighters or building up their own mini camps for this particular one, getting someone like Francis in shape, helping someone like Sean Strickland get better and taking on the champ of the champ. It's one of those where you say, hey, it's an ebb and flow. It goes up and down. But is there a rematch involved? I look, initially you want to say yes, but I'm going to be honest with you, Griff. I would wait on the rematch only because of two things. One, Fury has to go into real boxing and take on Usyk. They were supposed to fight in December. Now they're talking about Fury's camp wanted to be pushed back to late January, possibly February.
Right.
Okay, with everything that happened unexpectedly, got it. But the reason I say wait on that is because right now Francis is hot. You could say Tyson Fury didn't come in here and train all the way. He didn't take him seriously. Tyson, we know from a physical standpoint, he's like Tim Sylvia. He's never going to look six-pack, abs, chisel, chest, biceps. He's never going to have that.
He's coming in that really big, round, and sexy. That's what he always going to be doing.
Big, round, and sexy, baby boy. But we just know that's how he's going to come in. He looked a little extra on this one. Some little Debbie's was in his locker room when he was getting ready for it. But at the same time, now, what's he going to do? Just like he did against Deontay Wilder the second time. Switch some things up, come in motivated, wants to prove to people that that was a fluke, that was a one-time incident. Kind of like a movie we see that has 6 films along with 3 spinoffs in the Creed franchise. Just saying.
Rocky.
What did Apollo Creed say in the second one? I won, but I didn't beat him. And I think that would be the motivation for Tyson Fury. Now, if Fury goes out there and starts Ngannou the second time, let's say he finishes him in 4 rounds, knocks him out. Very quickly, do you remember Lennox Lewis, great heavyweight champion?
Yes.
He lost to Hasim Rahman. Rahman knocks him out. Rahman seemed like he might have been the next great U.S. boxing champion. Okay, they have a rematch. Rahman's full of himself. Oh, man, I just knocked him out. He can't take my power. Lewis came in there, knocked the shit out that boy. 4 rounds. Ain't heard from Rahman since. I think the last time I heard about it, he had a big old well from Evander Holyfield headbutting the whole time. Ooh. But it was one of those where he lost all his momentum because the greatness that you showed the first time, well, now you just lost. Andy Ruiz knocks out Anthony Joshua. Great. But in the rematch, he comes in severely overweight, still goes the distance, but he loses. Have you heard about Andy Ruiz since? He's had some boxing matches.
He's coming back up a little bit. He's making his way back.
He's making his way back, but look how long ago that was. That was a couple years. For Francis Ngannou, I'm going out there, Deontay Wilder. Let's go. Deontay Wilder even said, I do a 1-1, 1 in the MMA, 1 in boxing. I'll go for Anthony Joshua. Knock him out one time. He's got a testy chin. Can you imagine those two? Yeah. Guys going at it?
I'm telling you right now, if Francis fights Anthony Joshua, he's starching Anthony Joshua. He's starching that boy. It's not going to be a judge's decision. I promise you that.
It should not be a judge's decision. That would be but see, that is where I'm at right now. Is go with Joshua, go with Wilder, go with one of those, because right now the interesting thing is people don't know how to figure you out just yet. Tyson Fury even said he was a bit awkward in there. He was a bit weird. I was throwing feints at him. He wasn't reacting. Because he comes from an MMA background, doesn't have a traditional boxing background. So I think right now, the mystique, the power, and the pedigree of what he has with his coaching staff, Mike Tyson was in his camp for a little while. I think that's the route maybe I would try to explore. That Tyson Fury fight, I believe, especially if they're both successful, will only grow to be bigger as it goes down the line. I don't want it I don't want it 4, 5, 6 years later.
No.
But I wouldn't go after it right now because I want to strike while the iron is hot for a couple other boxing matches. Because if he, like you said, if he starches Anthony Joshua, my star is brighter than ever.
Well, I mean, he's already going to be in the WBC rankings as a heavyweight.
They're talking about already putting him in there.
Yeah, he's going to be a ranked heavyweight boxer. That's insane.
One fight.
Well, after one fight, but then again, what he did to who in that fight?
Just saying.
And I think I don't know. It's just crazy to me. We go into this fight. For me, I was picturing this fight was going to be a lot like what happened when Tyson fought Deontay Wilder. And I thought it was going to be that because Deontay Wilder, the big, powerful, bomb striker. I thought that was what Francis was going to come in. But I think the difference was just how big Francis is. Because in those fights, Tyson Fury was able to weigh his weight on him. Like, he was able to be the bigger man. But in this fight, it was Francis the bigger man. I like what you said, though. It is, I think you're right. Spread the wealth. Go get different names. Keep proving yourself against all these different boxers. I can't wait. I also can't wait till he gets back in MMA, too.
No, for sure. But you know what? With the success and the money that is in boxing,
you can't turn it down. You can't look away.
Quick throwback before we move on. Josh Koscheck was his name I was thinking about. It was bothering me this whole time. Josh Koscheck was one of AKA. Yeah. That dude was he was something else. Glad George St. Pierre messed him up one good time.
Messed him up so good.
Speaking of George St. Pierre, and we're transitioning now over to the UFC.
Yeah.
UFC 294 went by, brother.
It did.
Hello, darling, my old friend. Islam Makhachev is still your UFC lightweight champion. Hey, shout out to him, for real. Shout out to Islam.
Shout out to him.
But man, he got a head kick knockout over Alexander the Great. Volkanovski. Now, let's just remind, Volkanovski took this fight on 12 days notice?
11
days notice.
Some could even argue 10.
He cut from almost 200 to 155, going into hostile territory. And you're taking on one of the best. All that aside, hey, if you sign the contract and you step on the scales, you step in that cage, it is what it is. You signed up for it. Great showing by Islam Makhachev. Left kick, what's Leon Edwards saying?
Headshot dead.
Headshot dead, and that's what it was for Alexander Volkanovski. It was a phenomenal finish. Thought it was going to go a little bit further, but it is what it is. That's the way to combat sports. What did you make of the main event, Islam Makhachev defeating Volkanovski?
It was my worst fears when this got announced. It was my worst fears, which was I worried that Volkanovski, wasn't going to have enough time to prepare for Islam. He wasn't going to be able to be that same warrior he was in their first outing. And I mean, it's hard to argue had he had a full camp and he was in that same position and got hit with that same kick, because if you look at the video, he was going to block that kick. He saw it coming and he went to block it. It just so happened that Islam's kick just so happened to be so perfect over the block, that it hit him and chipped him in the head, and it was night after that. Yeah. It's sad for me, but not too sad because, again, like we talked about in the preview for the card, the biggest thing that Volkanovski lost that night was probably the chance to become a double champion, at least for the foreseeable future. He's still the featherweight champion. He's still looking to fight Ilia Topuria sometime, I believe they said early in 2024. So there's still, he's still got his train going. He's still the great one. He's still possibly going to go down as the greatest featherweight in UFC history. It's sad to see that. But again, like you said, shout out to Islam Makhachev. Apparently these Dagestani chin strap mofos have learned how to now kick like absolute masters.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. I don't know. They just keep evolving. It's crazy. It's like Pokemon. Shout out to them. The lightweight division is very interesting now, especially where you see where does Islam go, the contenders that are there, and who's ready for the title shot, who's not. It's going to be very interesting to see going forward. I hope now, though, we can have fighters fighting in their own weight divisions, and we start seeing Islam take on bigger challenges and guys in his own weight class, despite, instead of fighting champions from a lower weight class.
Well, hold on now, Griff, because remember, the initial plan was for him to take on the former champion, the man he took the belt from, Charles Oliveira. So it's not like he's only been trying to fight smaller guys. Injury happened.
Injury did happen.
Who else might have gotten the call that day, Griff? We don't know. Look, Dana White says a lot of stuff. Fighters will say a lot of stuff. We really don't know who all got a phone call or text and say, hey, can you make it in time? Some maybe honestly just couldn't. Like, Dana, I literally can't make it, or whatever the case may be. But Alexander's the one that said yes. He stepped up, was unsuccessful. He's still the best at 145. We'll see how he does against Ilia Topuria at some point. Probably push that back to February or March just because of the knockout. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But for Islam, I mean, look, I'm willing to take on whoever it is that you guys put in front of me. Now, the question is going to be, does he take on a Justin Gaethje, who clearly has shown he should be next in line? Does he go back to Charles Oliveira? Because Charles Oliveira was supposed to be the one that gets it, had the stitch. I don't know, like Dana White said, had Oliveira's camp told them first. Because Dana White has said this before. A lot of times when people get cut, they go to the doctor. We send them to a plastic surgeon because the doctor's part is just to close up the wound. The plastic surgeon is going to put it to where it looks like you didn't have a cut, or at least put it to where it won't come back. They'll do a better job with it. Had he gone that route, could he have still fought? I seriously doubt it. But at the same time, you never know. So maybe you want to revisit that one. Maybe is there someone returning or another particular opponent out there? That's another big fight. It's hard to say, but yes, Islam will fight somebody at 155. It's just a matter of when and who. Justin Gaethje, Oliveira, the leading two candidates for it. Oliveira's talking about calling out your boy, so maybe Justin Gaethje gets it by default from there. So he's definitely going to fight that particular fight in that case. For Volkanovski, he was short. It came up, but at the same time, got to give him nothing but great effort. Oh, sorry, my alarm's going off right there, guys. Sorry about that. Let me turn my volume down. But Volkanovski said, hey, I'll take on the big fight. I'll take on the boogeyman. I'll step up on short notice. I was unsuccessful, and I came up short. But at the same time, it is what it is. Who else was willing to take that? Not many people.
Not many people.
Speaking of taking on the boogeyman, speaking of stepping in on short notice, we had another fighter step in on short notice. That same card.
Oh, yeah.
Khamzat Chimaev.
Oh, unactive Khamzat Chimaev. No fighter Khamzat Chimaev. Won't get in the ring Khamzat Chimaev.
Hasn't had a fight since 1999.
And he's still bucking.
And went out there and fought Kamaru Usman, making his middleweight debut. 10 days notice, 11 days notice, whichever one it was. It was very short notice. He took on the Wolf. He said, I'll take the call. I'll take on the big bad boogeyman. I'll fight him.
Be a Huckleberry.
I'll be a Huckleberry. And your boy looked trash. Khamzat Chimaev, trash. He looked ass. He fought a guy, first time fighting at 185. 10 days notice on a 2-fight losing streak, and you go to a decision. I promise you, if Kamaru Usman had a full camp, the Wolf would have been slayed. Khamzat Chimaev, trash.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That man was a long-time reigning welterweight champion. That was Kamaru Usman. That ain't no scrub. That ain't no man on a 10-day contract for the UFC. That man is one of the greatest welterweights to ever do it.
Yes, he
is.
In
a division that Khamzat has also fought in. Khamzat was also been a welterweight.
But he ain't never fought the top guys like Kamaru Usman.
He fought Gilbert. He fought Gilbert Burns.
And so did Kamaru Usman. He stopped Gilbert Burns.
But what I'm saying is that
he got a decision with Gilbert Burns. He didn't have the toughest fight of his career against Gilbert Burns. Khamzat ain't never fought Kobe Covington. He never fought Tyron Woodley.
Kobe don't want to see him. Kobe don't want to see him.
Who?
Kobe don't want to see Khamzat. Kobe don't want to see a lot of guys in the division, but that's another story for another time. Hey, yo-ho!
I'm just saying. I ain't scared to say that. Fuck him.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
No, but your boy, supposed to be the big bad boogeyman, look trash. He looked like deep fried ass.
Is it that he looked trash, or is it that Kamaru Usman looked phenomenal with all the things stacked up against him?
Oh, no. Kamaru Usman is an all-time great. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But Islam Makhachev took on Alexander Volkanovski, who is in his prime, knocked him out. Your boy, who's supposed to be the next big thing, no one wants to fight me, ass.
He broke his hand in the first round.
Oh, funny how all these excuses always come up after the fact.
He broke his hand.
I separated my shoulder.
And he still won the fight.
I broke my spine. I had a foot contusion. I had an abortion while I was in here.
Yikes.
I voted for the wrong one. I showed up late. I mean, what the hell else are we going to talk about in here?
I voted for Biden in the second round.
I'm just saying, man. Like, it's one of those where it's always an excuse when he doesn't look good. Oh, but when he looks great against Kevin Holland, who stepped up on 24 hours notice, oh, look at him. He's dominant. What?
Still has not lost a fight in his professional career, not once.
I'll tell you what. Just how Tyson Fury won the fight, but he ain't beat him. Khamzat Chimaev won the fight, but he ain't beat Kamaru Usman.
Did you see how he did Kamaru in that first round? Do you remember?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Can I describe?
I had a bad connection.
Oh, well, let me fill you in.
The satellites weren't lining up where I was watching the fights at, so none of us saw the first round.
All good. I'll be your satellite.
All right.
That boy had Kamaru on the ground, and I have never seen Kamaru Usman get manhandled the way that Khamzat did to him in that first round. Manhandled. He said, "You're mine, little boy, for this next round, buddy. You are going to be mine." And he put him on the ground. He controlled that back, and at one point, he was strapping that back. He was the backpack specialist. While Kamaru Usman was standing up, Kamaru had no choice but to slam him to the ground because he was this close from choking out the Nigerian Nightmare. That is nothing to scoff at. That if you're able to put Kamaru Usman in that position, and I'm pretty sure his hand was already broken at that point, phenomenal. Phenomenal. It is very impressive. We have an absolute dog in the middleweight division, baby.
So earlier, you said shoulda, woulda, coulda. Did he put him to sleep? No.
He won the fight.
Did he make him tap out?
He won the fight.
What happened in the next 10 minutes? Trash. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. He did all this backpacking, all this nut hugging, all this leg holding on to. He ain't do a damn thing.
Get the
Khamzat
victory.
Chimaev against Kamaru Usman, who has a full camp. Done, son.
Well, Kamaru Usman also said that he had the option to have that be a 5-round fight. You think Kamaru gets the victory if it's 5 rounds instead of 3?
Without a question. Without a question. Look, all jokes aside, Khamzat Chimaev, we know, is a phenomenal fighter. He's come in here like a bull in a china shop. But there's been some questions. There's been some concerns. And there's been some skepticism on how elite is this dude. Because when he's fought the guys who are supposed to get him to the next level, he stumbles. He fought Gilbert Burns to show that he can take on the guys at 170. Stumbled.
Right.
Took on Kevin Holland, short notice fight. So once again, there's an excuse built in on his dominance there. Take on Kamaru Usman on short notice. Another excuse, but then he doesn't look that good. The first 5 minutes, the sideline was bad, so I just had to take your word for it.
He was nasty. That's what he looked like.
But the next 10 minutes, he broke his hand. Okay, Uriah Fair broke both of his hands in the fight and was throwing elbows. I'm not trying to downgrade breaking your hand or an injury because it's terrifying and it's very difficult to overcome. I get all that. But at the same time, what have we seen time and time again from all the guys who are in co-main events, top 5, top 3 in the division, champion division? They find a way to get it done. They find a way to go out there and pull it out and put on a good show.
He got it done.
No, he got the victory. But Griff, in watching that, when he got his hand raised, do you really feel like he should be next in line for the title? Do you really feel like, put it like this, if Sean Strickland was not the champion, Izzy was, are we really that hyped about Izzy versus Khamzat? Strickland Khamzat only seems fair because guess what? Everyone else Izzy ran through.
There's
DDP is out there, but he's somewhere in Africa talking about, I'm the only African guy out here.
African
Bastard. And Izzy's going to take some time off. It literally feels like, dude, you might just get it, not just because you're good. I mean, look, he's 13-0, so I'm not trying to downplay it, but the way I look at it is, dude, I can't really sell like your highlight reel victory against one of my top guys in the promotion. Every time I put you against a top guy, you don't give me the performance I needed. He gave you 5 minutes of dominance. And then 10 minutes of barely getting by.
I will give you this. His biggest victory, at least I'd say his biggest victory was Gilbert Burns, even over his victory over Kamaru Usman, just because of the state Kamaru Usman is in his career and the different weight class and all the other factors.
Fair.
But the thing is, that victory over Gilbert Burns, I think the one sequence that really still stands out to me today is when Gilbert Burns caught him with that punch and his neck went... Like his head turned. He turned.
I'll say 2.
He turned his head.
Large.
He turned his head. He turned his head like Gilbert Burns didn't smell too good. He went.
I want a Frosty.
He said,
Bruno Mars is in here.
Exactly, bro. So I get what you're saying. He hasn't had really that dominant performance where we really are all just like, oh, he's arrived. Oh, the wolf is finally on his way.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, now with the UFC doing what they're doing and kind of wanting to screw over DDP. It looks like he has arrived. It looks like it is finally time for him to face the champion of a division and go for gold.
You don't love or even like nor respect the world of professional wrestling, but in a very famous promo that Vince McMahon did years ago, back in the 90s, Brett screw Brett. The UFC is saying DDP screw DDP because he had a chance to step up, chose not to. And what's one thing Dana White does not like? When you turn down fights. Dana has shown, hey, if you turn down fights because literally, Paul Acosta, because of the Staph infection, when they had him at the press conference, he even backed him and said, no, guys, this is a legit thing. Like, his elbow is jacked up. Like, that was one of the rare times we've heard Dana get on the side of a fighter having to pull out. Because normally he's like, well, it wasn't that big of a deal, this and that. When Rafael dos Anjos pulled out against Conor McGregor, it became a whole, it's a bruise on his foot. He can walk around. It's like, dude, we've seen the pictures. Like, his foot was the size of this machine, right? It was swollen. But at the same time, hey, you didn't step up, big fight, we had to replace it. Well, now you look at someone like this, and it's like, hey, DDP, you had a chance. From our understanding, and I'm only speculating here, but from our understanding, maybe you could have pushed through it, but you chose not to. Sean Strickland went there. Now Sean Strickland's your champion. I got this to deal with. So at the same time, and now Izzy's talking about he wants to take time off and not come back for a while. So now you don't have one of your most popular fighters on the roster available for maybe half or majority of 2024. We'll dive more into it on another episode. But that's one of those where it's like, DDP, man, you had your chance and you missed. Someone else stepped up and filled that slot. For Hamzat Chimaev, you're not missing. You ain't hitting the target square dead center like you're supposed to.
Not yet.
Like, you hit
Not
the
yet.
target, but you ain't crossing the T's and down the I's. You ain't hitting him in the chest shot. You kind of hit him in the gut, on the side, shoulder. You ain't hit me in the throat. You ain't hit me square dead, but you got me like right in the cheek.
Right.
Still a kill shot.
I feel what you're saying.
Thank you.
I feel what you're saying.
Thank you. Now, we do have some more stuff to get into on the next episode.
Oh, brother, I'm sorry. I can't let you get out of this episode without even just mentioning.
No,
we got to mention it. We have to mention it. We have to. No, we have to. No.
It's a satellite commotion.
No, this going to be quick. Hey, yo.
Hey, happy holidays to everybody. We love you. Happy Halloween. Hope you guys dressed up nice. Griff has nothing else to say.
John Jones pulled out. We can get into it in the next episode. We don't have to talk about it now. It's still very soon. This card is about a little over a week away. I want to hear your thoughts really quick. Just real quick thoughts. John Jones, no longer going to fight at UFC 295 due to an injury to his pectoral. What say you, John Jones, #1 fan?
First off, the wound is still fresh. So I don't appreciate this.
It's gaping.
Second off, I do not appreciate the manner in which you said his pectoral muscle, as if that is a small thing.
I said pectoral. It's
no. The way you said it, the way you said it was almost as if he had a hangnail. The muscle came off the bone.
It did.
Third, we were talking about John.
Stand up. Get
We're
in
talking
position.
about John Jones here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. So we would say it with respect. And at the same time, when has he ever backed down from somebody? Not never. When has he ever been scared to step in the cage with somebody? Not never. Look, it made sense. The two greatest heavyweights going at it in New York. In New York. It ain't gonna happen. All it means is we're delaying it a little bit more because guess what? UFC 300 International Fight Week next year in New York is going down because Dana White has already said when John Jones comes back, that's the one you want to because why? It's a legacy fight. The greatest heavyweight champion of all time, Steve Miocic, taking on the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, John Bones Jones. So don't you dare sit here and act like he pulled out because he had a little pinky toe problem. That is a pectoral muscle. It all went off. At least my fighter is active and doesn't have to worry about USADA leaving the company just so he can come back and get off the hill.
No one's got to worry about USADA no more. We did it, baby.
We did.
Ireland, we did it.
Vitor Belfort's coming back, baby. Let's go.
Oh, hell, Brock's coming back, too. This is going to be a mess.
Yes.
It's going to be a big old mess. Oh, God.
I just want you to know. You know how in Deadpool, he said he wears red so his enemies don't see him bleed?
Wear your brown pants.
He said the brown pants. If Brock Lesnar comes back, I'm wearing white pants.
Just
so we know.
Oh, God. This is a children's show. Well, I like it. I like it, brother. I think that wraps everything for now. We'll leave the open wound till next week when we do the preview. How about that?
Please do, because I do not appreciate it. Because John Jones will be back. He will hunt you and he will accomplish the mission. Beat him if you can. Survive if he lets you. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of The Main Event right here on Franchise Sports Media. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tune in next time for another episode of The Main Event. This has been
Griff and Camp.
I'm Kalani. Till next time, fight fans.
Peace.